Hi, my name is Rachel. Thanks for coming back to the channel. I'm going to start off this series on part singing, how to teach singers how to sing in parts. Now, it doesn't matter how old or how young the singers are in your choir. They either can or cannot sing in parts. I know as a new teacher, this was something that was very foreign to me. Before you even begin to consider teaching singers that don't already know how to sing in parts, you first have to make some really important decisions about the repertoire that you are going to use to teach them how to teach in parts. A number of years ago, as a graduate student at Florida State University, I was introduced to someone named Dr. Judy Bowers. If you have been in the choral music education field for any length of time, that is a person that you likely have knowledge of. If you don't, then do go and seek out information about her. She created what she called the literature hierarchy. Now, in doing some additional research about the hierarchy, I also found some information about Dr. Mary Ellen Junda, and I hope that I'm pronouncing her last name right. If I'm not, I would love a phonetic spelling of her name below, or perhaps you want to use IPA. And she is a professor at the University of Connecticut. Yay, New England! Dr. Mary Ellen Junda and Dr. Judy Bowers have a very similar take on these steps, this hierarchy of how you go about teaching part singing. I'm going to walk you through it. I have made a few adaptations of my own onto the literature hierarchy. Repertoire is the link for teaching tone. Repertoire is the link for teaching breath. Repertoire is the link for teaching posture. It is the link for teaching sight singing, all of these things. If you don't start with good quality repertoire, then you can't expect the singers under your leadership to be able to have success. The repertoire choice is directly linked to the success of the choir and the singers in it. But before we can get into the specifics of the hierarchy itself, it's important to keep in mind 4 things that have to exist no matter at what step in the hierarchy you're working. The first thing is that musical range is primary. If you have elementary aged students, you don't want to live outside of an octave from about a D above middle C to the next D 2 octaves above middle C. I'm not going to do C3, D3, whatever business. Nobody got time for that. That is where most of the notes should be when you're teaching students in the elementary school. There may be some fancy little children who can sing higher than that or lower than that. Great! Give them a pat on the back, say thank you so much, but we're going to spend the majority of our time in this octave range. Why? Because that's the healthiest spot for them to sing. The research supports it. Know that they are going to have the most success singing in that 1 octave range. Secondly, you want to provide a variety in the selections that you choose. Now, variety, I mean, we could just go down a crazy, what's that thing called? A crazy rabbit trail, rabbit hole, I don't know. We're going down something crazy that seemingly never has an end when we talk about variety and selection. One thing is genre. You don't want everything to be a motet. You don't want everything to be a hymn. You don't want everything to be a lullaby. You want to kind of make it a little spicy as far as what types of genre are included. Another thing that you want to consider is the composer. It's important to introduce singers of all ages to a variety of composers. Male composers, female composers, composers of color, composers who currently live in places other than the place that you are currently living. Don't be limited by your own space. Go outside the box. Another thing to consider is language. Take that step of faith. I know that dealing with foreign language can be a little bit intimidating, a little bit scary, but I can guarantee that if somebody in your audience hears a piece of music in their native language, they're going to be so excited, even if it's not perfect. And chances are, unless you have a choir of entirely native speakers, it's going to have some flaws. That's okay. Of primary importance, and I can't say this enough, is that you want to choose music that allows for teaching music literacy. Michelle Adams came to the university where I teach, and she presented a session on this idea of using components of the music that we're working on for performance and using those to teach aspects of music literacy. For instance, maybe there's a so me in the song that they're singing. Well, name it. Say, that's so me. Circle it. Find all of the other so me's in the song. There you go. You taught so me. Anthony Trecek-king is another one who has also been a great proponent of this idea. I would encourage you to go over to his website and take a look there. He's got some really great blog articles based on this idea of using repertoire to teach music literacy. Both of those folks that I mentioned have been or still are part of the Boston Children's Chorus. And then finally, we want to talk about this 80-20 ratio. Cliff Madsen, probably the person person who is most well known for this idea of teaching with an 80-20 ratio in mind. What does that mean? The 80 would be the percentage of achievable tasks that exist within the framework of a lesson or the framework of a rehearsal. That is to say, you want that to be pretty accessible. You know that they should have not necessarily relative ease with achieving that, but it's something that they currently have the tools and skills to achieve. On the other side of that is the 20%. They're challenging tasks that are going to take a little more brain power, tasks that are going to take more time from you as the teacher to lesson plan and to think about the successive approximations. And then what? And then what? And then what? And then what? We can't just go in thinking that we're going to teach that 20% the same way we teach the 80%. Not going to happen. The singers will not be successful. You will leave frustrated. They will leave frustrated. And that's how we lose singers from choir. So consider this 80-20. It's not dumbing down. It's making information accessible so that the singers can achieve success.